Hello everybody, Moarhammer here, and I've got another battle report for you, and this is the first game of Age of Sigmar 2 that I've played, and I'm bringing it right to you, so how about that? This is a 2000 point game, my Stormcast Eternals, against Legions of Nagash with the big man Nagash himself. So we've got the whole shebang in this game. We've got the new scenarios, we've got Nagash, we've got endless spells. It's great. It's a really brutal, very close game. So I hope you're excited about it. If you want to check out the army list, you can do that in the video description below. And if not, I'll jump straight into it. So here is a picture of deployment. And we are playing one of the new missions from the General's Handbook. I can't remember what it's called. It's like the 3 places of power, but diagonally across the board. Arcane something or others. I can't remember, sorry. And I'm not looking it up now. So essentially there are 3 points diagonally across the board. Bottom left, top right and in the centre. And wizards and heroes with arcane artifacts can claim them, and that's it. So obviously it puts me at a bit of a disadvantage. I've only got 2 characters. I've got my general with an artifact and my Lord-Aquillor with an artifact, but then he's got Nagash, and he's got 2 spellcasters, a Vampire Lord and a Necromancer, and he's also got a Wight King with an artifact, so he's got 4 potential scorers in this scenario. So here's a bit of deployment. I kind of do a bit of a fairly refused flank. Kind of had an idea about what I was going to do, because he deployed everything very centrally. He did out-deploy me quite, he out-deployed me easily. He's got way fewer drops than me. I put like my 2 units of Vanguard Hunters and my Azyros in the sky so I could see where he's deploying his units. And just put them all in the centre there, which meant that the left-hand objective, the bottom left, was kind of very open. So I was hoping what I could do is use my Lord-Aquillor to kind of zip over there at some point, providing he didn't die, and kind of take the fight towards the right-hand side of the board, but then score the left-hand side and just end up winning on victory points, because I had no way to deal with Nagash. It's just not happening. So, yeah, that's all good. So, as far as deployment goes, starting on my far left, or I guess left in the centre, I've got a unit of 5 Liberators, and another unit of 5 Liberators to the right of them. Behind them, I've got 2 units of 5 Judicators, and my Lord Celestant on Dracoth, and he was my general to start with. Moving over to the right-hand side, I have a unit of 10 Liberators, then a Lord Relictor, and then moving up forward from the Lord Relictor, or upwards from the Lord Relictor, I've got a Lord-Aquillor and 3 Vanguard Raptors with Longstrike Crossbows. And then in pursuit, I have 2 units of 5 Vanguard Hunters, and sitting in the Celestial Realm, I have a Knight Azyros as well. He's going to drop down and hopefully light some fools up. So, on his side, starting on the sort of far left, but left centre, he's got 2 units of 10 Skeleton Warriors, and in the kind of the mix of them, he's got a Necromancer and a Wight King. Behind them, he's got 2 Morghast Harbingers. They've got the double handed axes, and they've got the 5 mortal wound save, so it's that variety, as opposed to the extra save one. And he's got Nagash sitting there, nice and pretty, the big boy. And then he's got a Vampire Lord moving on to the right. He's also got 10 Graveguard, and they're currently set up in the grave sites, so they'll be appearing at some point. Unless he forgets about them, like I like to do. But that's just about everything he's got. And he has got some endless spells as well, so he's got the Cogs, he's got the grave thing, the one that moves around. I don't know what they're called yet, I'm sorry. And he's also got the Aethervoid Pendulum. So, because he finished deploying first, he got to choose who went first, and he decided to go first himself. So, here's what he did. He did cast a few spells, but not a huge amount. He wasn't in range to do much. He didn't really do much. He brought the Graveguard up on the right-hand side there by his Vampire Lord. Vampire Lord jumped onto the objectives, that's what that was. And everything else just kind of bumbled forward a little bit. He didn't really have a huge amount to do. I'm not sure why he wanted to go first, but he moved some stuff. He got into place, he scored a point, and that was about all he did. So we jump into my turn. And I do some stuff. I do go forward tentatively. I didn't want to rush. In hindsight, I probably should have gone forward a lot harder than I did. And also kind of semi-bottled my plan of what to do with my Lord-Aquillor. I decided I'm not going to send him over to the left-hand side just yet. I'm going to push him up and I'm going to try and kill that Vampire Lord and score the objective with my Lord-Aquillor. So my Liberators and Judicators all kind of move up a little bit together, just to kind of get in some shooting range. My old Dracoth at the front there. He's got Staunch Defender, who's giving everything a nice buff. On the top right, my Lord-Aquillor, sorry, my Knight Azyros drops in, and then the 2 units of 5 Vanguard Hunters pile in around that corner as well. The idea here, I just wanted to put as many shots as I possibly could into his Vampire Lord. And if I can kill him, that would be ideal. So in the shooting phase, my Judicators all decided to target the Necromancer. Wasn't the best idea I had, because he can fob wounds off to nearby units on a 4-up, so he ended up doing that a bunch. He just shot off. I shot him with a bunch. I did loads of damage, but he passed off like 4 wounds to skeletons and then took 2 himself. So, oh well, could have been better, could have been worse, but I'm okay with that. Oh, with this side, I managed to shoot off the Vampire Lord, no problem. My Vanguard Raptors shoot at him, all my Vanguard Hunters shoot at him. So yeah, take him off, and that's excellent. It's great to have a character down. So can't argue with that at all. Then we go to the charge phase. Both my units of Vanguard Hunters fail the charge, but my Knight Azyros and Lord-Aquillor make it into the Graveguard. I was hoping I'd just be able to kill them all. I know we can bring them back for a command point, but where I kind of was, he would struggle to get them in any tactically useful area, so that's kind of what I was hoping for. After all said and done, I managed to kill all but 1, which is really annoying. Didn't manage to kill all of them, which was very unfortunate, but it is what it is. I can take that. Fingers crossed I get a double turn, and then I can sort them out. So, speaking of which, we go into the initiative roll, and he wins it. Which, again, I would have liked to win it, but I wasn't going to be too hard-pressed to too worried about it myself. So, he does do some stuff, and we get one new rule here, totally wrong. Nagash summoned 3 endless spells, the Gravetide, the Pendulum, and the Cogs. And obviously, if you're aware, one wizard can only summon 1 endless spell per turn. So we got that wrong. It's fine. He got it wrong. I didn't know any different. It's very new. We'd never used them before. Not a big deal. But that's what happened. That's why there's 3 there. So his Graveguard basically all come back just from the grave sites and the Nagash. So that happened. And then the skeletons that I damaged them shooting, they came back. And then all the stuff that's there, the Necromancer and the Wight King move on to the objective. So the Wight King scoring that one. And over on the right hand side, his Morghasts go towards the Vanguard Hunters. And they also get hit badly with the Pendulum and the Gravetide. So they lose like 3 models from one unit and 2 from another. So they take quite a beating. And then Nagash, he wants to get rid of those Longstrike crossbows with good reason, so he kind of flies off directly towards them. So in the charge phase, the Morghasts charge into the Lord-Aquillor. They fail their charge into the Vanguard Hunters, but they do manage to make it into the Lord-Aquillor. And Nagash has no problem making it in to the Vanguard Raptors. He goes first with his Graveguard, and they put 3 wounds onto a Lord-Aquillor, who then turns around. And there's so I didn't take a picture for a second here. A bunch of damage, and I attack the Graveguard with my Azyros. The Azyros gets murdered by the Morghast. And then my Lord-Aquillor managed to finish off another bunch of the Graveguard, putting them down to 2 left. So again, they're not dead. But I've killed like 20 Graveguard now, that's fine, he does actually, so I forgot to mention, he did cast Van Hell's Dance Macabre on the Graveguard in his hero phase. So they pile in and attack the Knight Azyros again and do another 2 wounds to him. I can live with that. Over here, unsurprisingly, the Vanguard Raptors all die. They get murdered horribly. So we go into my turn. And I've got a few things that I need to think about doing, mainly scoring some points. So I did score 1 last turn, but we're now 2-1 to him. So my Lord Relictor uses Healing Storm, or Healing whatever it is, on the Knight Azyros and heals 3 wounds on him. The Knight Azyros, the Lord-Aquillor. The Lord-Aquillor disappears, uses his Ride the Wind's command ability, and pops over on the left-hand side 7 inches on by that objective, just to start scoring that one, because now I've drawn Nagash all the way over to the other side of the board. His fast stuff is right the way across. Hopefully I can just sit here for the rest of the game and score and win on those, and that'd be ideal. So I move my Vanguard Hunters around a little bit. I move my Liberators towards Nagash. The idea is I could charge here and hopefully tie him up for a turn, because if he got the next turn, if he was trapped in combat with me, I didn't lose too many in the combat phase, I might just keep him back there again for long enough to score some objective points on the left-hand side. In the centre, I move my Liberators, my Judicators, and my Lord Celestant all up together. They're part of the Thunderhead Brotherhood, so they should be able to do a decent amount of damage, and just try and help there. So that was just about all I did. Everyone within 24 inches of the Lord Celestant is immune to battle shock now from his command ability, and we go smashing straight into the fold. I do some more shooting with my Judicators. I put another single wound onto the Necromancer and 2 onto the Wight King, so I'm doing some damage. That's pretty good. And then I charge over here. 2 guys make it into the Graveguard. I didn't want to bring into the Morghast into this combat, so I only charge. I only charge 1 unit. And I also charge over here with my Liberators into Nagash. So I attack here first. Don't do very well. My Celestant kind of fluffs his rolls a little bit. Managed to do a single wound to a Wight King, but that's all I did, which is a bit sad. Over here, Nagash attacks the Liberators, and he does pretty poor actually. He only kills 3 Liberators, puts a wound onto another, so that was fantastic. I had no issues failing on battle shock because I was within range of the Lord Celestant, but it does mean that I'm in a strong position to tie this guy up if I need to. Meanwhile, over here, the Graveguard have no issue killing both both of the Vanguard Hunters. They just didn't. This Graveguard are nasty. He just rolls out of the box when there's a low number of them. So we go into the initiative roll-off, with that being the end of the combat phase, and I win it. And that's not a bad time to win it at all. So my Lord-Aquillor obviously scored a point at the end of last turn, so he should be able to score 2 at the end of this turn, so that's putting me nicely ahead on objectives. So I retreat my Liberators on the right-hand side from the combat. I didn't want them in there getting punched in the face more. And I figured hopefully he might have to at least go through me a little bit if I needed to, or someone would have to. So I kind of take them out a bit and just leave them where they are. I move my Judicators forward a little bit just because I want to be in 5 inches of my Lord Celestant, because he gets an extra attack for every unit within 5 inches. So with the 4 units there within 5 inches, he's getting 7 attacks with his damage 2 axe, and that's awesome. I did lose 3 wounds on my Lord Celestant last turn. I forgot to take a picture of that. So he's 3 wounds down. And that's just about all my movements. And everything else pretty much stays where it is. In the shooting phase, I do shoot at as much as I possibly could at the heroes. So the Dracoth breath does another wound to a Necromancer. The Judicators do another wound to the Wight King. The Judicators on the right hand side, they shot at the 2 remaining Graveguard that were across the right hand side of the board. And I failed to do any wounds. It was just garbage. Actually, maybe I did 1 wound and he saved it on like a 6-up. So that was very, very sad. It would have been great to actually kill the Graveguard, but alas, was not to be. So we go into the combat phase. I attack first with my Lord Celestant, and boom! I kill them both. The Lord Celestant smashes in the Wight King, and the faithful Dracoth kills the Necromancers. That's absolutely fantastic. Really, really glad to have those dudes down. So not only does that take 2 of his scoring units out of the game, but it means that I claim the objective this turn as well. So giving me another point. So I'm stacking the points, which is great. After everything else is said and done, my Liberators do really well this turn. They're really kicking up a notch. There's 2 skeletons left in each unit. So they're doing really, really well. So we go into his turn, and the first thing he does is bring back this many skeletons. It's like, it's painful fighting death. It really, really is. There's 1 left, they just all come back. Okay, so this is the rest of his turn, looks like. He unbinds all of the endless spells, and he just resummons them all back in. So the Cogs, the Gravesite, the Graves Wave thing, Gravetide, and the Pendulum, they all just get brought back in and murder a bunch. So you can see that big unit of Liberators out on the right hand side. They're all but 1 dead now, so that was a bit sad. The Graveguard all come back again, and they kind of move towards the Liberators, and the Morghast kind of pile on their way on down as well. And Nagash uses the Pinions spell, and he flies in a massive distance as well, so he's angry and wants to get some revenge. So, in the combat phase, or the charge phase I should say, the Morghast pile into the Lord Celestant, and the Graveguard piles into the Liberators on the right hand side, and then Nagash himself piles into the Judicators. And that was a bit scary, because he was basically going to murder them all. So he piles in around like this, and he kills 1 Judicator from 1 unit maybe, and 4 Judicators from another unit, puts wounded. So it doesn't actually kill any units, but he does a decent amount of damage, and that guy was not looking too pleased about that. Over here, I do attack with my Liberators against the Graveguard. I do kill a couple, I think I kill 3 Graveguards, so not terrible. Then they attack and they kill 3 Stormcast back, so they do a bunch of damage as well. He ends up attacking with his Morghast then. He doesn't do a single wound, because I've got the Ethereal Amulet, or whatever it's called. All his attacks bounce off, and I re-roll my ones to save because of the shield, and I do 3 wounds back to him, which is excellent. And then when I attack with my Lord Celestant, I murder one of the Morghast and do 4 wounds to another, so that was absolutely fantastic. This guy is just laying murder to everybody with this axe, and that's fantastic. So, then I attack my Liberators. There are a few more attacks here and there. I kill some skeletons, but they're all going to come back. It's not a huge deal. But again, more importantly, he doesn't score any points this turn. So, we jump into the initiative roll. And I don't win it. He wins it, which is a bit of a shame. And he... and then spells happen. It's brutal. He recasts, he unbinds, then recasts Pendulum. So he puts that through a bunch of my units. Does 5 mortal wounds to my Dracoth Celestant, and he dies. Does like 6 mortal wounds to the Liberators. He casts Arcane Bolt, and he casts this, and he casts that. He casts a bunch of spells. He kills 1 unit of all. He kills all of my Judicators. He kills almost all of my Liberators. I've only got 2 Liberators left total, maybe even 1. I think it's 2 for now. And there's just nothing left over there to do any damage. So Nagash flies as fast as he could over towards my Lord-Aquillor to try and take that objective off me. And so in the shooting phase, he shoots. He does 2 wounds to the Lord-Aquillor in the shooting phase with his gaze and Nagash, which is not too bad, but it could be a lot worse. And then over here, his skeletons all pile in and kill the remaining Liberators. Over here, the Nagash charges the Lord-Aquillor and has no problem smushing him very badly. So, there you have it. All I got left is a Lord Relictor who's hiding behind that building on the sort of bottom right. That's all I've got left. Unfortunately, that does mean that we technically draw on victory points, because this is the 4th battle round. So he scores the victory point there for 1 point with Nagash. The next turn he'll score 2. And because he scores 2 earlier in the game, that means he's on 5. I scored the top right in my first turn, the middle objective in my 3rd turn, and then the bottom left in my 2nd and 3rd turn. So that's a total of 5 as well, which means we're equal on 5. So it goes to victory points, and as you can see, I have nothing left, and I don't think I've only killed 3 characters. I haven't actually killed a whole unit other than that. So that's very sad. It was going really, really well until that one turn where the entire world of Magic happened and I died. So I think I need some anti-magic in this list. But it was a really, really fun game. There were some great dice rolls, some really, really close things. Really fun to have seen Nagash do his thing. Like I did mention, the endless spells can't be cast quite as effectively as they were here. I don't think it made a huge difference to the eventual outcome of the game, because the only one that was a real benefactor to him was the Pendulum. Just doing d6 mortal wounds all over the place was brutal, and that's all kind of that I had to do. It's the first time I've fought death with the new book, and I'm finding grave sites so difficult to deal with. The Stormcast, they just don't have, or this army just doesn't have that damage output I need to get rid of a unit of skeletons at once, because if you don't get it at once, it's coming back, and there's nothing you can do about it, especially with Nagash on the board. So really, really tough to get rid of those skeletons. Fortunately, I made a good go of it. I think if I had done my Lord-Aquillor trick in the first turn and zipped over to the left-hand side, I would have won the game, because I would have scored 6 points just from him, which would have put me ahead as it stands. I also should have been a bit more careful with his movement, because he only just got to come out with Nagash. If he was actually as far left as he possibly could have been, while still claiming the objective, he would not have been able to get me. So, again, my bad. But something I will not repeat, and still a lot of fun. I knew I couldn't kill Nagash. It was just a case of winning the objectives, and that's all I had to think about. So, yeah, that's just about it. So, thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment below. I'd very much like to hear what you thought. And let me know what you think of AOS 2. That'd be great. You can find me on Twitter at Moarhammer. You can email me at morewargames@gmail.com, or you can see how I'm getting on with my painting on Instagram at Moarhammer88. So, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for another battle report.